Yesterday, violence in Kosovo, in the north of Kosovo, done by Serb state civil servants, which Mr. Vucic, the president of Serbia, has sent into Kosovo, is utterly unacceptable and must have serious consequences. The whole crisis is just a deflection by President Vucic from his internal disaster, which he has created in his now decade-long disastrous rule of his country, Serbia. And he is now deflecting from the total unhappiness of their own population, which is now basically the third time in his reign, a mass mobilization against his autocratic abuse of power. Don't forget the one against 5 million. And constantly the protest against the mining disaster which he does. And now it's the third time the people of Serbia are rising against his abuse, and he is always escalating then in Kosovo. Because Kosovo is an independent country, and Kosovo is a united country. It's absolutely wrong what the north of Kosovo is part of Kosovo, absolutely 100% international recognized, and absolutely they cannot change the territory of any of the states. So Kosovo is international recognized. I called on Serbia to recognize Kosovo and to start to be a normal European country. EU candidate country Serbia is since 10 years. And how you behave, sending your policemen against our KFOR soldiers, against our Italian and Austrian soldiers? How outrageous is that? How outrageous is that? To hurt our soldiers, our boys in uniform are there on a mission of NATO. And then the Serb state sends their policemen, maybe without uniform, to beat them up brutally? Really, I warned yesterday, if Serbia is going to cross the border into Kosovo, there must be immediately military answer to that. That's the only way to stop it. If we wait and let Vucic escalate it, and the next day he says, no, he's the man of peace, it's just the people angry, what kind of thing is that? It's an army, it's police officers, he is controlling them. And we really have to be seriously expelling the SNS party from the European People's Party. We have to declare the Srpska Lista no longer a political party but a terrorist organization after yesterday. And the whole escalation is coming from that moment when they have withdrawn from the local elections. Let's not forget. And the Prime Minister is absolutely correct to impose the rule of law on the country in the license plate situation, in the whole fight against smuggling, human trafficking, and all these illegal structures which since 15 years is allowed to blossom in the north of Kosovo under this kind of appeasement policy. That was from the beginning a big mistake. I said already, let's implement the euro in Serbia and so in north of Kosovo as well. Let's not give them this kind of arbitrage situation with the currencies. Let's not allow this smuggling. In 2011 we have imposed the border controls. That was very good, but there should be obviously an offer to a new Serbia to join NATO as well and the customs union, and then to have less of a border issue there. That is, of course, very good to reduce the informality, the smuggling, which under Vucic rule has gone to new heights. And that he escalates like that now on the Pentecostal Monday is a typical sign of his deflection and distraction policy, which cannot be accepted. And now he comes and says, I will control the situation in a Tito-esque style effort to somehow show himself as the only alternative for the West, for Serbia, for Kosovo, that he is basically the guy who is keeping the situation quiet after he himself incites violence with the withdrawal from the electoral process of Kosovo. And the whole thing is absolutely avoidable if we would have asked kindly our non-recognizing countries like Romania and, of course, Cyprus, Greece and Spain and Slovakia to recognize and to create some facts. Because I remind everybody, Kosovo has accepted the Ohrid Agreement just in March. And that's the start of the whole thing. Vucic said he accepts it and ran away. He didn't sign, and since then he is in a regard battle to basically blow up the whole deal. And I remind Mr. Borrell and Mr. Lajčák, two non-recognizers from Spain and Slovakia, who are in charge of this process. They have negotiated the deal with our name, with European name, and they said there is a deal, and then there's no deal. Both of them must resign due to the lack of competence and of care for what's happening. And of course, Kosovo and Bosnia must join NATO immediately. There must be this summit in July as a response to the Serb escalation. They must be immediately put into NATO, and then they will be the next allies together with Sweden and with Bosnia. And Serbia will have to face regime change internally, a new October. This October, 2000, the 5th of October. That's the only way, and it's the only way I think it's absolutely justified. And yesterday some people complained that I call for violence. No, I only call for violence if Serbia breaks the post-war treaties. They signed in Kosovo 99, and they have lost that war in 99. And it was a just and rightful war in order to end genocide, as I repeatedly said so, and every single bomb on Serbia in 99 was justified, and every new bomb will be justified as well. And if it's necessary, we have to use military force to restrict Serbia from creating another southern front in the name of Russia, which they are basically doing. And now the Wagner troops have announced to come to north of Kosovo, and Serbia allows them. And there's a Russian humanitarian center in Niš, and there is the Russian embassy. Where is it? Probably already in Madare border, like the last time in 2021. And it's the 6th time in 2 years. And that Serbia is escalating and threatening the military readiness and all these things. And then he's anyhow not doing it because he knows there's absolutely no chance for him to anyhow in any meaningful way to sustain and to fight against NATO. And how can an EU candidate country, which we are funding, we are paying basically everything in Serbia in terms of infrastructure, energy, railways, highways. There's a few things the Chinese do, but that's ridiculous. The Serbian state has only the financing capacity and the repay capacity of this loan to the Chinese because we are heavily subsidizing Serbia in all other things. No, it's really outrageous, and I'm really very disappointed. And that the EU is so weak, and the Americans then say, oh, no, let's not impose the rule of law. It's a flawed process. Yeah, why it's a flawed process? Because Serbian president is derailing not a flawed process. The process was absolutely clean and fine. But if the Srpska Lista, that's this Vučić list, is not participating, obviously the mayors who are now elected have only a few votes because a significant part of the population have not participated, and the other were intimidated not to participate. Yeah. But if we allow Serbia to derail democracy, to obstruct everything we do, to create a new crisis in the Balkans just basically for nothing, because anyhow there will be no change of borders in the Balkans, there will be no change of status in Kosovo, there will be no deal to change anything which was already decided in 2008 and ultimately in 99. So I don't know. There is in keeping up these wrong hopes by some non-recognizers being around. And all this, we have to talk with the Serbs and all this policy, let's deal with the Serbs later after the Ukraine victory. Yes, but it creates exactly this kind of situation and exactly this kind of tension. It's the American and Serb appeasement under the democratic governance of Jack Sullivan, he is the man, and Derek Chollet and all these people, which are creating this crisis. They know very well they shouldn't do that. But now the line is focus on Ukraine. Yes, I understand. Nobody needs a second war. Nobody wants a second war in the Balkans. Yeah, but we can also not allow this kind of antiques to continue. And it's quite easy. Everybody in NATO, Kosovo and Bosnia in NATO, if the Serbs escalate, cruise missiles. And the story is over. They have no military means to defend them anyhow. And so it's very tragic. It's let's not bomb any kind of military installation, the military installations, not the civilian targets. Yeah, and we can just start these things. Yeah, because it's utterly unacceptable kind of escalation by Serbia. And then to claim that Mr. Kurti is the guy who is escalating, no. He is just implementing the unity of Kosovo, which is the legal situation. And we can have a South Tyrolean autonomy status, as some of the Austrians are now proposing, yeah? But only on a reciprocity basis with south of Serbia. That means the Albanian inhabited territories, it must be a double South Tyrol. Yeah? We can do that. I'm in favor of that since 10 years. And now the idea gets some traction, but that's something we need to do. And we can do it if we want, and we are ready for that. Anyhow, I'm very sorry for the KFOR soldiers who were injured yesterday. My respect to these heroes. And let's get ready and also make it very clear that we will defend the northern border of Kosovo absolutely, and that we are ready for military escalation if it is needed. And of course it should be avoided. And that Serbia is the side to blame. And that definitely they must also have defunding from the EU. Candidate status must be frozen. They must be international isolated until the change to the West. And that's also what we need to support the opposition in Serbia, because we have to show them that Vucic is running his country against the door, against the wall, and that they are the answer. And with complete isolation now over the summer, and of course freezing of the candidate status, isolation of Serbia, then we will have the opportunity for a revolution in October. That's the logical way, and that's of course what we need to do. But will we do it? It's another question, because Borrell and Lajčák will give Serbia everything and they will punish. And then the first one, like Grenell, I had a bit of a Twitter fight with Grenell. I mean, what is wrong with this guy? I mean, claiming to be a conservative is quite a spectacular crisis here. And he is then today he has retweeted already that it's unacceptable to hurt NATO soldiers. But he seemingly is funded by the Serb government, claims to be a friend of Kosovo, and then he is defending the indefensible. That's absolutely outrageous thing. Anyhow, more on my Twitter account. Thanks a lot for listening. And please support Kosovo. The Republic is united, strong. And let's have Kosovo in NATO immediately now in the July summit as an answer to the Serb aggression. Thanks a lot here from Vienna. Bye.